Hello, everybody. Tell them what you did. What's your name?
You know who I am, Zane Slater, and we got first dish at Locals again today.
What is that, the third week in a row?
Yeah, playing another Josh Pyle deck.
Hell
So it's Tearlaments with something.
Yep.
So like, what were you about to say?
What was it this time? Tearlaments what?
Tearlaments Spright this time. And
all right.
I'll just kind of get right into it. The first 12, 15, 16, these first 18 have been the same in every list I've borrowed from your deck, or from your binder. I think moving forward with this list, I'd consider going down on copies of these two names, but I'm not really sure. Like,
Why those two names?
Because I found myself when I went first, I would side out two of this anyways, and when I went second, I would side out two of this, just because like this is more of a tier or a Spright deck than a tier deck. It felt like, and I wasn't oftentimes like just randomly milling, and so it didn't really matter if I was hitting too many names or not. Only times it really comes up where you were dying to hit a name is off Havness. I mainly would just like use this as a way to like play through boards and stuff and like just bait interruptions and then Spright them at the end. And I played one of this again. Everyone keeps saying that you should play two, and I keep not, and it keeps working out for me. But these were like the main ones that were important because both of these turn into a level 2.
Yeah.
This is just level 2. This, if it goes unresolved, summons a Kaleido, searches or sends Merly, procs itself.
And then you mill the 8 cards. You have a 2 on field for your Spright combos and stuff like that. You just go from there.
Yeah, so that was like my theorio behind this, was just like these are level 8s, these are cool extenders, and everything worked out really fine. So I like this. Like I said, that's probably all I cut out of that engine, and that's only a maybe. I don't even know if I for sure would. Then the Spright package, way bigger than people usually play, or so I've heard. Play the 3 blue, 3 jet, 1 of each, and this guy, and then this and starters.
Yeah, that's just a standard Spright package.
Yeah, but only if you're playing like Spright, right? Like,
yeah. If you're playing like pure Spright, this is probably like the. You'd probably play the Pixies on top of that too, and that'd be like your Spright core.
I thought about playing that card, but I decided not to. But this seems weird because it doesn't synergize with these. But you just play these cards first.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you have this, you know that literally all this can get interrupted. Any tier card can get negated or something, and you're fine. Because this, on its own, is like 1 to 2 interruptions with follow-up.
So, were you finding yourself just summoning the IP area over, like, carrots or red most of the time? Or
No,
like...
I wanted these to stick. I honestly almost never made IP. I wanted my M board to be...
No, I'm talking about, like, Hyperia off of Gigantic. Like the IP... that card. Were you like finding yourself in situations where you felt like you didn't need to summon either of these cards off the Gigantic, so you just went for this for the draw?
Since I played a bigger package, would almost always have one of these in rotation. And if I didn't, I would try to get them in. But I think most times off Gigantic,
yeah, because your Jet's always accessing like 1 of the 2 names because you're playing the starter anyway. So like that period was probably like a really good call.
Yeah, but I would try to get these on the end board. There were a lot of times where like I'd open one of these and then I'd search the other off blue, or I'd just search one off blue so that this.
Yeah.
Or like, because also I played on 3 Runic Spright matchups today. And
back to back.
Yeah, and so a lot of the times too, I was just making like dark and getting whatever name I missed. Like I might blue for this and then summon their jet and search a spell or something. So this package was like insane. I loved how these can like bleed through them trying to use interruptions, and then you just like have to have 1 card to play with this engine, and you're good. And it just like gives you 2 to 3 or 1 to 2 interruptions with some follow up like every time.
Yeah, because like starter or like I think what is it, starter jet or blue just gets you to the whole package like regardless.
It's so bonkers.
That's crazy.
And then I played.
Who needs Ronin Tonin?
This guy called by.
Still legal for some reason.
Yeah, and so we still got to play it. And
I
played 12 going second cards, putting the list at 44 total. These, in theory, seem like all good cards. These were for sure good. These, like I said, I played against 3 Runic Sprights, and so these are kind of dead. They kind of sided out a lot because they're making Gigantic before you can nib them most of the time.
Yeah.
And then the DD Crow, like, all I can really hit is an elf target, which game 1 I'm fine with. If this is just going to trade with them summoning red back out, then I'm okay with that. But games 2 and 3, that's not high impact enough for me to continue to keep the card in the main.
It's staying against tier if you were to duel it, but you know, that just didn't happen.
Yeah, usually this locals is hella tier, but today I dodged.
Yeah, they all switched to Runic Spright, and they all died to tier. Crazy.
And then for the extra deck, this guy, made him a couple times. This time I played 2, and I never made the second.
So we're going back to 1.
Yeah, I'll probably go back to 1. The only times like it sometimes sucks is when you have instant fusion, which is a 1-of, but like you drew into it later, and this is still engraved and you don't have a way to recycle it. But that like hardly comes
doesn't come up enough.
This card came up a couple times. I made it on their turn with a Havness once. I milled good and I made Kick Kalos, double make this.
Yep.
And
Card's good.
So it turns Havness into a real negate. And I also super polyed for it once. And then, it was cool how I did it though. It was against the Runic deck and I took their Fusion and their Dark.
Oh, that's pretty cool actually.
Yeah. And then this guy for draws, I never actually summoned him via a fusion effect. I was typically only getting like 1 to 2 fusion summons at most a turn, and one was always on this.
Yeah, because it's the best card.
I didn't really go into this card that often. It was really good for Super Poly though, because it ate a board, and then it went with one of the fire guys into Dark because it's a Dark, and then I was able to Dark grab Jack, go crazy.
Yep.
Then
Mud
Dragon never made it, but this is mainly for Super Poly. And if I didn't play Dweller, but I like Dweller, and if Dweller was in here, this could be made you could make it with this sometimes, but I don't know if it's worth it. This also matters where like if you go Havness and you mill like a name and a hand trap like a DD Crow, you could make this, but you'd probably just rather go into that anyway.
Yeah.
Then the 1 Gigantic, 2 Elf.
Did you find yourself summoning the second elf?
Yeah, I like having this one for follow-up.
Yes, yeah, that card's crazy.
And there's like rare occasions you might be able to IP into another one if they out it before you activate the effect. I liked having it. I thought it was pretty important. There's also occasions where you gotta like use this and go into this, depending on how they interrupt. That you still want to end with this on the end board. But 1 Dark. This card was crazy.
Yeah, that card's insane.
It was sick too because like I said, I played like Runic Spright a bunch and I got this used against me in the first match I played against it. Still won it, but it was cool when this was played, and then I just like copied it. I saw that it worked, and so I made this against them a bunch.
Easy.
Then Unicorn access code. These cards are nuts. I love getting to like go for game when I shouldn't be able to. You have to make sure you do this before you do this though.
Yeah.
And so that's important, but I like this card a lot. It came up like twice. One time it went for game, the other time it didn't go for game, but it helped me dismantle a board. And then Appaloosa and Zeus. Neither of these came up, and in hindsight, I was kind of dumb for even playing this, because like, I only play the 1 Gigantic, and I can't really name a world where I'm going to make this attack with it, and I'd rather Zeus than use its effect. But it was there just like in case. Didn't come up, I would probably cut it. Maybe this could be the Dweller.
Yeah, probably the Dweller.
I could also side this for going second or something and maybe put in another rank 2 to go with it. I don't know. Then speaking of side deck is like pretty similar to usual.
Yeah, just
I only had 2 of these to borrow this time. I think I had 3 last time, but I don't remember. These I love. This card was kind of dog shit. This should just be Cosmic because I think Cosmic's better against the Runic deck because you hit their field spell and they can't protect it with the level 2 fusion. Whereas these get like hosed by that fusion. So there's also a world where this could be evenlies maybe. I don't know, but I do like these. Then Dark Rulers I never put in. Like the deck I played against the whole locals, I don't think this is that good. I'd rather hand trap their board. And then I sided these hand traps. I think this card has to be in your list somewhere. People were saying last format they didn't like it, but with all the new stuff coming out, I think this card's crazy. I think if the Runic deck is popular, this card's crazy. And like when it's not crazy, it's still good, and that's fine.
Yeah, at least 1-for-1 trades.
And then on this, I drew once and it wasn't that good. I lost that game, but I wanted to test it. I don't know where you really hit though. I think if you're just against like a pure Spright, you probably hit Elf. Against Runic Spright, it might be better to hit Gigantic because that stops them from getting the Gildagro, which gives them the most amount of advantage. And I'm not really sure against like other variants, but the side deck wasn't very great, but I enjoyed it, and that's about all I got. Do you have any questions or anything?
I mean, would there be any like changes if you were to play this list again?
Probably
like,
this.
Probably just the side deck.
I'd try to cut closer to 40, and then I'd change some stuff in the side.
You could probably cut the tier cards. You say you weren't
yeah, if I cut those 4 names, it literally puts me straight to 40.
Yeah.
And then I'd be content with that. I think I like the concept of having a small tier package in decks because like the field spell is just the best card.
Yeah, this card.
This card, if I've got like options in my deck to search with it, even if you're only playing like, you can play like literally like one of each name, and having the fact that this can search a starter or an extender that can proc effects is just like nuts.
Yeah.
And so I think that even if you don't have to play huge engines because this is just like insane, and it warrants playing a couple of these cards. But yeah, that's about everything, I guess. So take it easy, my friends. Subscribe and shit.
Any shout outs?
No, just my channel and Josh's binder.
Thanks, appreciate it. All right, we'll see you next week whenever you do it again.
Adios.
Adios.